Final Fantasy XIV is a game that I've played at length, I assure you. If you actually look here upon the Kiznakip TV channel, I even have the finale of Endwalker, which is almost 6 hours out right now. Wink, wink. However, I always have this habit of getting into either job positions or communities that are kind of on the downward trend at just the right moment. I ended up getting in about, I think, patch 6.5 specifically. So the 6.55 conclusion for Endwalker, the last Hildebrand stuff, that wasn't out yet, right? I came in towards the very end of Endwalker, and honestly, I blitzed the game, as you can see. I mean, I've gone through the entirety of Shadowbringers. Shadowbringers was an absolute banger. We went through all their Endwalker. I personally have gone through Dawntrail at this point in time, which all the VODs for that are uploaded in queue. But unfortunately, Dawntrail did not land for a lot of people. Some of it's narrative, obviously, but one of the things that I really wanted to bring up, and this is, you've probably seen this going around, is that the VA for Wuklamot, it has come under fire for no other reason than seemingly just online hate and bigotry. There's a lot of transphobia, if you will, about Wuklamot's VA. To which I have to question, do you people actually touch grass? We saw a similar effect in the Star Wars movies, unironically, right? There are people that will absolutely swear Episode 4, Episode 5, Episode 6 are absolute bangers, the prequels are trash. Look, all I'm going to say, I've gone on the record saying I cannot stand Episode 4. Even when it was called Star Wars and not Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope, okay? We're going to talk about revisionism, right? We're going to talk about revisionist storytelling, right? Let's talk about why it was called Star Wars and not Star Wars Episode 4, okay? I have valid reasons for not liking it, but it's also taken in the context that I understand we wouldn't have 5 and 6 without it, okay? There have been Jar Jar's voice actor, Anakin's voice actor from the prequels, Daisy Ridley from the sequel trilogy. I'm assuming that Adam Driver, I love that man. The fact that he's a Marine is even better, right? They receive no shortage of hate and stuff like that. Just because, oh, you happen to be in this role. First off, let's take this from an intelligence standpoint, right? Your issue is with the story, okay? Like, I haven't really seen comments in regards to, say, Episode 1, 2, and 3 as, oh, well, it's not Star Wars. It's mostly just like, well, it's not the Star Wars story. It's not the Star Wars story you're expecting, right? We can agree to disagree, right? You can disagree with me that the prequels are, you know, I think they're great. At the same time, I can disagree with you, saying that Episode 4 is just cookie-cutter hero story from an 80s setting that ended up, from it, spreading out to making Episode 5 and Episode 6. Probably the hottest take you're going to hear all day, but that being said, if you like Star Wars 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, cool, awesome, go about your day. What we're talking about here and why we're segueing from Star Wars is that we have effectively a similar situation here. If your issues with Dawntrail's story, totally get it, 100% understand. I thought the whole Zoralia plot line, his story arc was completely great. I thought it was amazing. Things with Alexandria, I mean, I didn't play 9, which Dawntrail is clearly a source on, or it's clearly playing from. But I mean, I honestly didn't have issues with the story. I thought it was great. I thought it's from the logic of, effectively, this is Stormblood 2.0, or even a Realm Reborn 3.0, because Stormblood was effectively Realm Reborn 2.0. But I think that Stormblood's a more apt comparison, because nothing compares to the brick that is a Realm Reborn. Like, good God, that is a brick to read through. Like, this is a starting point, and that's how I've justified it. That being said, there are people that have taken narrative issue with it. That's fine. You're allowed to criticize the story, if that is your thing. The line, dear viewer, dear watcher, dear whoever, right, is when we start attacking actors, actresses, and talent, right? You are attacking someone who effectively, you know, got paid, got compensated to do work for a project. If you have an issue with Zoralja's storyline, that's not how a father should act. Sure, have an issue with it. You know, that's fine. I actually really liked his entire downfall. I'm not going to go into too much spoilers here. But especially in the 99 trial, his downfall made perfect sense. I absolutely love that, right? It made perfect sense to me. But when we have to have the director, Naoki Yoshida, come out and ask the MMO's players to stop attacking Wuklamot's VA in the English localization team after they've become the subject of online hate, which includes, you know, the spicy D threats, if you will, right? Like, no, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. And Final Fantasy XIV is in an interesting situation where there's a lot of 1.0 players that don't even play the game anymore, from my understanding. And that's fine. From 1.0 to now, it's a completely different game. I play it because I rather enjoy the game. I enjoy the themes presented, even if they're ham-fisted at times. Xenosia Galvus is 100% one of my, if not the favorite, my most favorite character in any video game. Because his arc is, one, great, but two, the dude is just, I can't really explain it without going too much into spoilers. Like, I like his arc. Xenos, Emmett Silk, Gaius, Ilberd. Those are my top 4 in that order. You're welcome. Carly and Sympathizer Kip, perhaps. But, like, I wanted to kind of, like, talk about this, because this is not how this works. This is not how people be adults. And this is, yes, through the mask of anonymity, right? Like, oh, would people be saying this IRL? Probably some people. But obviously, anonymity on the internet emboldens people to do stuff like this. That being said, it's not exactly reasonable to take away that anonymity. It's not exactly reasonable to just say, well, we'll just have everyone, you know, submit their government-issued ID, driver's license, passport, etc. That way we know who they are, right? I mean, we already see that in states like Idaho and Texas when you're trying to access certain sites. It doesn't work. And it also sets really bad precedent for a lot of things as well, because now suddenly your personal information is out there. What happens if the company holding that information, what if they have a data breach? Cool, congrats, your personal identifying information, driver's license, passport, etc., government ID is now out there, right? That leads into a whole other thing. So, dealing with anonymity on the internet, right? We're taking that as a constant at this point. This type of behavior needs to get called out, okay? I don't care if Wikulamat's VA was a dude, because wasn't Naruto Uzumaki on the English team, right? Weren't they voiced by a woman VA, female VA? Who cares? Awesome. They did great at the role. They did great at the part. Sure, you can make the argument, and I've heard some of the argument. It's like they're shouting lowercase, I think is something along the lines of how the delivery was. Like, that's fine. I have far more issue with the English version of Resident Evil 4 Remake and Ada Wong. Love her VA. She had some banger lines. Whoever was picking and choosing which lines and which takes to do, though, absolutely assassinated her character. There are some really bad misses for the Resident Evil 4 Remake. So, this is all to say, yes, this is absolutely inappropriate. This absolutely needs to get called out. This is not okay. This is not how adults act. Second, this comes into my personal history of just getting into games when they're dying, and getting into communities when they're dying. And that is really unfortunate. I didn't start playing Helldivers until a few weeks after launch, and started going into some of the first round of nerfs and stuff like that. And now I've entirely just stopped playing. I will be playing once they finish their 60-day whatever period, but I remain cautiously optimistic and will drop it if I need to, right? I've gotten into card game communities like Naruto, when that was still a thing, the Naruto CCG. I got into about set 24. Set 28, the game was dead, right? Which, I mean, it's whatever. That's a Bandai Namco thing. Or Bandai USA specifically. That, yeah, I'm forever bitter about that. L5R, LCG, right? The living card game. When the TCG by AEG, Alderac Entertainment Group, got sold over to Fantasy Flight, and then we got the CCG, or sorry, LCG, living card game, and then that ended up dying because of the virus, and it's just like, I can only take so many things. So if we're going to take a game, which I have played at length, and I have liked a lot of the themes within, right? I've liked a lot of the themes. It's very much, you can look at it, Inko for Endwalker, for Shadowbringers, right? Shadowbringer is about what? Sin and redemption, that kind of thing. Endwalker is about despair. It's about, lighting the way, quote unquote. Even just understanding that, like, once again, getting into Xenos' plot arc, that, yeah, I'm not gonna get into that. It's so good. But what I want to, like, stress is that this doesn't seem like it's, these, a lot of the times, are a small vocal minority. I, however, in my playing of Final Fantasy XIV and noticing more and more things recently that are really just kind of driving me away from the game and driving me away from the community. It's why, if anything at this point, to increase my skill level in any capacity, I'm working on a static, or a concept of a static, right? Like, we were running Shadowbringers EX3 recently. We were 4-man unsyncing it. And it was fun. It was good. We all got to play our classes. But this is one of those things that, like, the community of a game is 100% killing the experience, for me at least. This is behavior that definitely needs to get called out. And this is, at the end of the day, not okay. Like, I disagree with this in every sense of the word. And if you're part of this, part of this community, or if you're part of this section of the community, I don't have respect for the sentiment. I don't have respect for people that want to send specific threats to voice actors. I don't agree with that in general, if I'm being completely honest. But no, this is bad behavior. So just temper your expectations if you're getting into Final Fantasy XIV. Even from Endwalker, the community just seems a little different. Community just seems a little on edge in certain aspects, if you will. But I digress. I mean, have you noticed these things? Do you think that this is incredibly on base? Do you agree with points outlined in this? I really don't know what to do with this information, and it's really frustrating to have to get into another community, to get into a game that I honestly really love. In fact, my warrior model is the basis for this, right? My warrior outfit, my warrior glamour is the basis for this, right? I'm sure you can see by this, right? Those who know what this weapon is. But I digress. What are your thoughts? Have you noticed a downturn in the community? Have you noticed a sort of just shift, a change? Did you agree with Dawntrail? Did you disagree with Dawntrail? Let me know in the comment section down below. Obviously, 99.9% of you are honestly super legit. Love every one of your comments. I try to read and respond to as many as I can, and I don't really have any fear of this not being civil in the discussion section. I complain because I know the community can do better, especially if this is a minor part of the community, and even then, this needs to stop. Thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.